Okay, hello and welcome to Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. This map is CBA Original, and this is probably the most famous multiplayer scenario that there is for Age of Empires 2. It's a very simple game mode. I'll explain the basics. So each player starts off with 4 castles. Each of those castles is linked to a spawn point which produces unique units of your civilization. So I've got the Byzantines, so I get elite cataphracts. The idea is you send these units out, you go get kills, you go get razes. As you get razes, you get villages. You need a certain number, it varies by civ. As you get kills, you progress through the ages. So right now we're feudal age. If we get a few kills, we'll progress to castle age. And then imperial age, obviously. Villages cannot produce town centers, so that's not a way you can go through the ages. But you can build things like stables, archery ranges, and so on. So we should actually see what our opponents are. So this guy is Saracens. So these guys are good anti-cavalry units, but cataphracts have like anti-cav armor. Anti-cav armor, if that makes sense. So most of the bonus damage that these guys should be doing to cavalry units is ignored by cataphracts. Yeah, I used to play a lot of CBA on the channel back in the day when I was mostly making Age of Empires 2 content, and I kind of stopped doing that because the Age of Empires 2 scene for Definitive Edition is, in my opinion, not maybe a little bit disappointing. I would say it's a little bit disappointing because it's active enough, but it's very similar to how it was back in the HD Edition days, and HD Edition was never as successful as Definitive Edition, so the community has got bigger, but its attention has not proportionally been diverted to, or directed to, custom scenarios. Yeah, the basics of CBA, I've kind of already covered them. You often find that some games end really quickly because someone will go in and rush people and wipe them out, but sometimes they go on for a lot longer, and you'll see people just filling their bases with stables, archery ranges, barracks. Less often barracks because you have unlimited resources, so infantry is not usually the most efficient option, but that is a thing that can happen. Let's see what else we're up against. So these guys, elite throwing axemen, I think I get bonus damage against those, so I might try and focus on that guy instead. And then, ooh, red is the Celts, so I should really be focusing on him. Depends how organised my allies are. I can probably finish off these war wagons. I should go for it. Mine's gonna have an okay time against them, but not a great time. So I'll finish these off, and then I'm going to go and try and get some easy kills on the Celts in particular. This guy should be able to manage Mamelukes, so I'm going to leave. And then we can really just press against these. So Byzantines not great at getting razes, but not terrible, so I think it's 2 razes. You can check. So if you go on objectives, you go to hints, we can see Byzantines need 2 razes, 300 kills for castle age, 600 for imperial age, 10 seconds between each spawn, and then once they reach 60 units, that's when the castles stop producing units automatically. Okay, so we've got... Actually, I'm just going to go in, because I'm being chased by throwing axemen, and even though I'm not going to do much damage to these castles, I'm going to get killed by the throwing axemen if I try to attack the gates, so I might as well just rattle them a bit, distract them, spook them a bit, show them I can get to their castles. I'm not going to do too much damage, but it's fine. This guy's still having trouble. Let's go help him out. But yeah, so we're probably going to take out about half the castle before we get finished off, but I think that's worth it just to distract them, hopefully get these two into the game a bit more, as they do go for the Frank player. And they have opened him up. This guy's going to go for razes on me. I need to try and stop him, because if he gets villages, he's going to set up a wall, and that's going to stop my allies from being able to rush him. Looks like for now they're just focusing on basic razes, the gates at the front. So if you delete your front gates to stop the opponents getting razes, there's a trigger in the scenario which causes you to be kicked from the game. So don't do that. I need a bigger mass before I can really help out this guy. I've at least driven off this guy for now, but he's going to go for the Turks instead. Going to try and help out. So up here they've finished off the gates. They can now go in to attack the castles. They probably should. But he's actually going to take on Red's gates instead, which I think is probably fine. He also gets bonus damage against Celts. Celts got a really horrible matchup here, so hopefully our allies can make use of that. My Cataphract's not really getting too many kills, but hopefully they're soaking up hits for the Plumed Archers and helping us liberate our ally. Okay, so this guy's focusing on kills, which is fair enough. We've already got one Castle Age player, which is the Celts, so we want to try and stop the Celts getting razes. Do need to try and help Teal get out, because as the Mayans, he just needs the one raise, and then he can start walling himself up to stay safe. The other thing he can do is he can try and get himself to Castle Age, which he probably will fairly soon because he's getting lots of kills. And once he's done that, he can start producing probably Arbalests. Not Arbalests, Crossbowmen. I really don't want to be here. I want to be up fighting the Celts, but I don't want my ally to get trapped. Just going to ignore all this. Actually, I'm going to fight these. I think I've covered all the basics. I'm not sure what else I could mention. There are various things you can do. So you can, for example, when someone comes to attack you, you can block off the two sides here. It's called a block, naturally. And that makes it harder for people to raise your castles. I might do a guide, like a basic guide to the very basic aspects of CBA at some point, but I'm not sure when. As some of you might have gathered, if you're new to my channel, I do usually make videos about other games now, but Age of Empires 2 probably potentially my favourite game ever, so always happy to come back and make some more videos on this, particularly CBA, because CBA is usually a very quick game mode. I can tell this guy is trying to focus me down, but my matchup there is not as bad as it looks. Okay, he's not really committing. Alright, so yellow does have villages and is walling up. I'm not sure we can stop this, but there's a very small chance he's not finished this wall. No, that's not going to work. I'll go for some kills. Turks might be able to help press. So the opponents are all making it to the Castle Age. My allies are all also in the Castle Age though. So this guy's already building. Other two don't have enough razes yet. This guy just needs the one. So yeah, my Cataphracts did not do too well there, I think. Probably better off just avoiding the Franks. This guy is going to attack Saracens, that's fine. I'll go in just to absorb some hits. We need to help this guy get a raise. I think that's really the most important thing we can do right now. So I'm going to ignore the Celts. I'm going to trust these two to handle things on that side, and we're just going to try and help the Mayans as much as possible. Okay, so we'll keep weakening that gate, that's fine. And then elsewhere we're just going to focus on trying to get a few kills. This guy needs to build up a bit of a mass. Looks like he's already at his pop cap though, so he's clearly doing okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set the raise, so I'm going to mostly finish off the gate, and then I'm going to leave it a very small amount of health, and enable Teal to go and finish it off. Okay, so this guy's still building up. He definitely looks like he knows what he's doing, so that's all good. This guy still needs a few more raises. Purple's a little bit worried, but I'm not really sure why. Made it to the Imperial Age. I'm still stuck in the Feudal Age. So I feel like this combination is in our favor, just. I'm not sure we're going to be able to really break the stalemate enough to really set that raise, but we'll keep trying. Okay, wants me to focus on the wagons, that does make sense. Pulling back. Let's wait till we build up our numbers a bit more, that does make sense. Okay, here we go. So something else you can do is, if you're not really being attacked, you can move the spawn to the front. So each of these, instead of gathering in the middle, they'll gather at the front of the base. That's the other thing I've not mentioned. You do have a blacksmith and a university, which you can use for upgrades, of course, once you get to the next stages. So getting to Castle Age and Imperial Age is still useful, even if you don't have villagers, just because you can upgrade your units, but at this stage of the game you really do want villagers, and I think green in particular, teal in particular, definitely does want some. Okay, on the upside, the Turk player has cavalry archers, and if I remember correctly, cavalry archers are really good for the Turks, so as long as he doesn't get pushed back on that side, he should be fine. I'm actually going to go help him out. He's moving his villager back. Yeah, so he definitely knows what he's doing. Just going to help him keep his momentum up. Actually, a few too many here. Perhaps we can distract them. Aztecs are committing, so let's commit as well. Let's bring some cav archers over. Okay, he's pulling back. I'll go for the Celts. There we go, we finally made it to the Castle Age, so we now need razes ourselves. I'm not sure if we can realistically do that, but our units will be slightly stronger. Still used to HD Edition where I can't queue text. Okay, this guy's got elite skirmishers, which is a little bit worrying, but also our units are going to be able to handle them completely fine. That's easy kills for us. Teal's made it to the Imperial Age. This guy I think is coming for razes against me. He's still Feudal Age, so it's not the end of the world if he does manage to get villagers. Orange has made it to the Imperial Age. Yeah, I think Orange could win this for us. If this guy can get a raise, I think this is massively in our favour. So blue is starting to build stables too. I can see a couple of villagers there. They might be the only villagers he has, so let's try and catch him out. So many ranged units, it's going to be difficult. I think we got them both. So he's already built his buildings, so that's only going to stall him temporarily, but it's still helpful, and potentially the Mayans could try and go for a raise here against one of these. There's no rule against deleting your buildings. Well, there kind of is, it depends who you play with. Some people complain about it, but in practice it's unenforceable. The only buildings you're not allowed to delete are the front gates, the towers. You can actually delete your own castles, because I think that's seen as a risky sacrifice. But yeah, for the most part, you can delete your own production buildings if you're trying to stop your opponents getting razes. This particular gate is definitely going to go down now, so Teal's going to get his first villager. First two villagers. So yeah, once you cross that threshold, once you've got your first villagers, you then get villagers, 2 more villagers for each raise you get. So some civs like the Huns, you need 5 razes, because they're so good at raising. But then once you have 5 razes, each raise after that point gives you 2 extra villagers. So yeah, we're making a strong push on this side. On this side we've kind of boxed them in. It's definitely looking favourable. I should now try and get a couple of razes myself. I think that's really the most important thing I can do. At the same time, I feel like we could help swing this just by attacking their units. Still producing the skirmishers, so yeah, I definitely want to be attacking them. Mamelukes getting destroyed by the plumed archers. This guy is maybe not making the best decisions. He's either very confident. He must be very confident. I'm assuming that's confidence rather than inexperience, but I'm going to call that overconfidence. I think he should be building in his base first. This is a bit cocky. If we can keep them busy, he will start producing enough units to overwhelm them, but they are actually starting to gain some ground on us. If I can find an easy raise, so this has 1200 HP left, that's not an easy raise. Oh, there is a raise there. I think I need at least 2. I will go for this. Yeah, that's just my first raise, that's not really going to help me too much. On this side, yeah, as expected, Mr. Sauron the Gay is doing a fantastic job. And at this point the Mayans are setting me a raise, which is slightly embarrassing. Red calls GG. Should get my villagers. Yep, there we go. We've got our first villagers, so we can potentially just start building rams. I think that's the obvious thing to do. But they are going to quit. Okay, they're starting to call GG. With this being Definitive Edition, I've learned that calling the early GG is not rude. It's just what you have to do because everyone's going to quit as soon as the game ends. So this guy's gone, they've got 2 players left, it's 2 against 4. We'll start producing some battering rams just in case they don't quit. Oh no, it's 3v4. I thought this guy was out, but no, he's hanging on. That's fine. There's nothing they can do at this point. They've got 1 player with lots of production buildings, but another player with nothing. Whereas all 4 of us are now producing units. So there is occasionally a dilemma about whether you just stick to your unique units or start producing like Castle Age basic units instead. Most of the time you just go full unit production because, as you can see, we're limited to 64 pop. So our castles are no longer producing those units. You'd much rather have 250 crossbowmen than 64 cataphracts. I think this guy does have villages. He's gone for the block. There are exceptions, like if you're the Huns. Tarkans are so good at raising that you might want to delay producing units. Persians that kind of applies to as well. But for the most part that is the case. Trying to think what else I haven't mentioned. There are lots more CBA videos on the channel, so even though I'm not sure this is going to become a regular thing again, there's lots of HD Edition and Voobly, a few Voobly CBA games on my channel that you can go check out. I've got a playlist tab where everything is neatly organised, so it should be easy enough to find. There we go. Okay, so yellow resigns, green's still hanging on, blue's still hanging on. Ooh, I've managed to really screw that up. I was wondering what took the villagers so long. They were off in the wrong place. We've got a couple more though. At this point we just join in the building spam. Fill the map. He's not going to resign. We just steam in with a load of rams. I still need some more razes because I'd much rather be in the Imperial Age, but it doesn't really matter what I do at this point. Okay, green's gone. So it's all down to blue now. I think he's gone through the effort of building up his little base, so he's going to try and hang on. There's really no point though, honestly. I'm not going to say I've never done it, but when you're in this situation, just throw in the towel. You are done. Okay, made it to the Imperial Age. That's not going to help us too much, but it will give me the option of researching siege rams, which are going to be that little bit better. Pushing into this guy's base. It will reach a tipping point where his units are just not being produced anymore. We're pretty close to that point, but in the meantime, we just have to grind this out. Okay, there we go. Finally resigns. Took way too long about that, but never mind. That's CBA. That's the basics of it. CBA Requiem specifically, which is the kind of accepted name for the Definitive Edition version of the map. There's also CBA Hero, which is a variant where as you get kills, not only do you go through the ages, but you also get yourself a steady stream of heroes progressively getting better as you get more kills. That particular version of the map is probably less balanced overall, but it's also better if there are uneven teams, because the team with fewer players often gets more kills per player, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's CBA. I hope you found it interesting. Some of you probably already know it very well. But that's, yeah, a very fun map, very easy to play, often over very quickly, sometimes not. That was kind of an average length game. And yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.